Nirmal Bang, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hirodhatia. We have with us Mr. Prem Kishan Gupta, Chairman and MD at Gateway Distriparks, joining in. Welcome to the show, Mr. Gupta, and congratulations firstly in terms of the strong growth in profitability that we've seen in the fourth quarter of FY22, especially driven by the performance that we've seen in the rail segment. Firstly, if you could just help us understand, have the numbers met your internal expectations? And secondly, what has led to this kind of growth?
Thank you, Hilal. See, the numbers, even for us, right at the beginning of the year that we closed down, we were not expecting such a big change. So, but then during the course of middle year, we revised our budget and we revised our strategy because we could see a clear shift of cargo from road to rail. And at the same time, because of the DFC sections being completed, so the trains were running faster and the turnaround time was less. So we could give our customers a short time transit, between the ports and the hinterland. So that has helped us in getting more and more shift from the road to rail. And also, the overall EXIM business, container EXIM business grew by 4.8% this year. So, so from the growth, we got our part of it, and then we took the market share, we increased it by 2%. So we are right now, earlier we were at 12%, now we are close to 15% in the NCR region. So ultimately the year has been very good. The operational income in this year has been the highest ever. And you are right that the rail sector has performed a lot better than the CFS. CFS business is stable, but rail business has been outstanding.
And so would it be right to say that firstly, the benefit of partial completion of the dedicated freight corridor, that is something which is being visible in the strong growth that we've seen in the rail volumes?
Yes, that is correct. And going forward, the other sections of the DFC will also are under completion. And as and when they get, each and every section gets completed, then the trains run faster. And going forward in the next 1 year or so, there will be new set of wagons which will run at a higher speed and also carry higher load on the per wagon. So that gives us an advantage on the road. And as well as, like I said, the short transit time for the exporters to catch up with the vessel. And similarly, for the importers to evacuate their containers from the port towns, from the ports of Mundra and Pipavav to hinterland in the north, like Garhi Hasru and Faridabad. And the Nhava Sheva section, except for the Vadodara Nhava Sheva, it will also be ready sometimes this year. So even that, with our terminal in Viramgam, where we use hub and spoke, we can service Nhava Sheva much better than any other operator.
Right. And overall, if you see in terms of the CFS segment as well, as you mentioned, that wasn't as strong as what we saw in terms of the rail. CFS did see a decline in terms of volumes, but what was the reason for it? Was it mainly due to the shift in cargo from road to rail?
No, CFS business is at the port town. So, we had two facilities in Nhava Sheva, one owned by us, and one was on a 15-year agreement with Punjab state government, which ended on 31st January this year. So we have given up that facility back to Punjab Conveyor. So if you see the numbers in the first quarter have dropped. Means in the fourth quarter of this year has dropped because 2 months we had no volumes. And even earlier when we were vacating that facility, so the volumes we had announced and the volumes had started coming down. But at the same time, we have ramped up the capacity in our own facility in Nhava Sheva. But overall, the CFS business is more competitive and the margins are less. So we have projected that we will be even if we are giving up the volumes at Punjab Conveyor, we will be gaining some volumes in our own CFS, and it will be a stable margin or the EBITDA contribution that it has of about 80 crores this year. It will continue to be like that.
Right. And overall, if you see in terms of once the operationalization of the complete Western DFC corridor is done, by how much do you think will our market share increase? Because clearly you said it has gone up to close to 15% now. By how much are we expecting that to increase?
Our facilities on the double stack locations, Gadi Harsru and Faridabad, we have enough land bank to expand our capacity. Right now, the capacity that we have built in, the utilization is about 50%. But we can almost go 4 times this volume if the volume starts coming in. So the macro has to improve, the containerized cargo has to improve, and the shift from road to rail, all these factors will contribute to the growth of the company. In general, in the container movement from the ports to the northern hinterland. So these factors will definitely, and we are located at very, I mean, our locations are very good on the DFC. So we not only we expect to gain on the volumes, but our services that we will offer will be the best amongst the container train operators. So that will automatically lead to increase in volumes. And in addition, what we have been doing for the last few years, that we have been running dedicated trains for customers who have full container, full rake load. If the full train is filled up, then we offer a dedicated service on a particular day when the vessel comes at the port town. So this one, when we started, I mean, it was with one, but now there are so many shipping lines and customers who are availing of these services, and we are giving them dedicated and assured transit time from the ports to hinterland.
Right. And what has been the impact on the back of the Russia-Ukraine crisis as well? Because yes, there is a slowdown coming in on that front.
See, more than the Russia-Ukraine war, definitely it has had some impact, but it was not much. But lately, the closure of the ports in China due to the COVID, first in the Shenzhen area by March, and now in Shanghai in the month of April, that has disturbed the whole supply chain of the shipping industry, resulting into congestion not only at the Chinese ports, but at many other ports, and withdrawal of services by the shipping lines, because if their vessels are stuck and the volumes are not being unloaded or loaded. So rather than loading them with additional cargo, they have dropped the frequency of the services not only to India but to many other ports in the world. And it has completely disrupted the supply chain. And there has been an impact in the second half of March and also in April. But there are laden containers lying at Chinese ports. There are laden containers lying at various other ports. There is enough cargo from India to be exported, which is not going out as fast as it can be. So the impact is there, but I'm hopeful that this will be resolved as soon as these ports start functioning.
Right. And overall, if you see in terms of where, FY23 is concerned, what is the outlook in terms of the capex?
We have planned a capex of about 200 crores in the year FY23. We will be building up 2 new terminals in the north again, and that will be in addition to our existing position in the north, mainly in the NCR and Punjab. But then we will be moving to, say, UP and Rajasthan. And this year, definitely 2 terminals will come up. So mainly the capex of 150 crores is for that. And 50 crores is for the existing facilities for expanding. I mean, we have to do a small capex to increase the capacity of the yards. So overall, 200 crores will be the capex this year.
Right. And will that be from internal accruals or will it be external funding?
Mostly it will be from, I think we will have a 60% of internal accruals and 40% of funding.
Right. And with that, how will our debt to EBITDA look like or debt to equity look like?
The debt to equity right now is 0.7 to the EBITDA. So we have in mind that if we get an opportunity to ramp up, our throughput by acquiring more terminals or whether acquisition or greenfield, so we might go up to 1.5 debt to the EBITDA.
Okay. And overall, if you see in the terms of the next milestones as well, what is it that you think Gateway Distriparks can achieve in the next 3 to 5 years? What's the target?
Well, the target is to expand our footprint in the northern hinterland. There are enough locations where we can do that. And then slowly and gradually, when the other dedicated freight corridors like the eastern going up to Calcutta and the north-south or the west-south or east-south. So there are so many corridors that have been announced, and on some of which the work has started. So ultimately, right now we are doing EXIM cargo, but going forward, we will be entering the domestic sector also, where the turnaround time can be faster. Because today we have tried, but the turnaround times are very long, and it does not make commercial sense to operate on those routes.
Right. So basically, we are saying, moving from EXIM, we will be looking at with continued EXIM. Domestic sector over the next 3 to 5 years is what our target is going to be.
Yes. So in the next 5 years, I would say we would like to be a full rail freight operator, both in the EXIM sector and as well as the domestic sector.
Right. Okay. And very lastly, in terms of growth as well, what is the target that we have, a milestone that we would want to cross?
The rail transportation has a very long future. The infrastructure is still wanted. And as and when these infrastructure will come, see this Western DFC has come in after 16 or 17 years of the announcement. It was announced in 2006. So it depends on the other corridors, how and when they are completed. So I would not say that we have a fixed target for the next 5 years or 7 years. The rail movement is going to be the big thing for us for the next 20, 30 years.
Right. So I think overall it seems a lot of areas where there can be focus, which could be growth drivers for a company like yours, not only in the international market, but a lot of avenues that will be coming up over time in the domestic market as well. So I think a great growth story that we could be seeing from here on. So thank you, Mr. Gupta, so much for joining us on the show. A pleasure to speak to you, get insights. And once again, congratulations for the stellar set of numbers and good luck for the coming quarters and years as well. Speak to you soon again.
Thank you very much for having me on your channel.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel for in-depth interviews of India Inc. and press the bell icon so that you do not miss our updates.